Hello, Freedom Guy 55 here again. I just saw Sucker Punch for the first time. Yeah, I didn't actually see it in the theater. And I guess I wanted to talk about Zack Snyder. Might as well just talk about him first. I think I wanted to actually talk about directors and try to actually talk about their potential and whatnot. So I guess I'm going to start with Zack Snyder since I just saw Sucker Punch. And I have to say that Zack Snyder is not a bad director. I mean, he is very good at really having a really interesting visual style. But he seems to be much better at adaptations of certain particular type of texts. Like, say, the movies that we know him for, I mean, for what he's gotten famous for because of what he's done good, are 300 and Watchmen, as well as also Sucker Punch. The thing is that he does very good in making adaptations because Watchmen and 300 are adaptations of graphic novels. 300 is done by Frank Miller, and Watchmen is done by Alan Moore. And the interesting thing about these two is that when he actually wound up doing these movies, the acting was pretty well done. Not as much in Watchmen compared to, say, 300. 300 was much better in I think, acting than Watchmen, even though the Watchmen was actually still pretty good. I just thought Watchmen's acting was a little bit bland, kind of monotone in certain ways, or too much in certain directions. But as far as anything else, these movies were very good and very well done for the adaptations of these graphic novels. We understood them. We understood the motivations behind them and such like that. But now we have now he's done like Sucker Punch. And Sucker Punch was actually very much, to my perspective, it's a very terrible movie. It's just too much of a mess. Due to the fact that the actual story is just really very incoherent. You're not really sure what the hell's going on throughout the movie. And really, I think the opening sequence and the last sequence of the film seem to actually be much better to my perspective, than the rest of the movie. The rest of the movie just really seems to be overly dramatic, melodramatic. You have a lot of the sequences within the girls. Their characters are not very well developed. They all seem to be the same, or seem to act the same. I also found that the action sequences were so unnecessary in Sucker Punch. And so unnecessary. They didn't really need them, as well as also being very over-stylized. That I just actually wanted to really see more of the girl's trials within the place that she's at, and she wants to actually escape. But I didn't really think that we needed to have all those dream sequences. I was just wanting her, I would actually have liked to see her dance on stage and see how good she was, than actually see these action sequences. But, that was my opinion. But that was the one thing that's really bad about, Sucker Punch. I mean, I'd give that 2 stars compared to the other ones, which I found were actually 4-star movies. But of course, I get it. I give those movies 4 stars out of 5. That's how I do it. I do 5 stars, and I don't do 4 stars. So basically, I would give 300 and Watchmen 4 stars. But when it came down to Sucker Punch, I mean, he just doesn't do a very good story very well for himself. I think that he should still stick with adaptations of certain particular types of things and try to style them up and make them well, because he does that a lot better. I think that he should continue to do that until he's actually ready to make an actual coherent story that works very well and gets really kind of in depth within certain characters. He actually kind of seems to lack that in certain areas. He'll be able to get maybe some characters to be in depth, but not many. But anyway, so I guess the thing is that the thing on Zack Snyder is that pretty much I think that he should do much more adaptations and then build himself up to make his own story. That's what I think he should have done. But I guess that's it. And I thank you for your time and have a nice day.